I will be sharing with you today on how to pass the ASQ CSSBB exam with little stress. So what is the ASQ CSSBB exam? It's a Certificate of Six Sigma Black Belt exam. Right? So the topic today is how to pass ASQ CSSBB exam with little stress. Now, the current situation for ASQ students who are taking ASQ exam is there are thousands of students around the world globally taking this exam. And the passing rate is, what I say, not something fantastic. The passing rate is usually about 30%. 30%. Sometimes it can go as low as even 20% depending on certain countries. Okay, but generally I would say 30 to 40% is a passing rate. And those students who retake, they would again fail. So about 50% passing rate for retake students. So it is not an easy exam to pass. 150 questions, multiple choice, to be completed in 4 hours. It sounds easy, it sounds like a lot of time, but usually students cannot complete in time. And they would be flustering and trying as much as they can do to complete the exam questions. So what I want to share with you today is basically 6 steps. 6 steps on what you can do to ensure that you pass the exam first time. Okay? Now, I have been in this coaching for Lean Six Sigma for the last 15 years. My name is C.K. Wong, and I've been doing this in multinational companies and also for the public. And one of my pet subjects is basically helping students or coaching them on how to pass the ASQ exam, giving them a lot of practices. And usually most of my cohorts will be passing them at least 95%. 95% passing rate first time, okay, regardless of which country I go to. So definitely there is a technique involved in passing ASQ exam for CSSBB. All right, so I remember I said I'm going to go through for you 6 steps, but just before that, if you like this video, please subscribe and hit the notification button. Activate the notification button so you'll be notified for future videos that I will come up with. Please go through the subscribe button and the notification button in my video. Okay, now if you're ready, please get hold of some pen and paper and I'll outline for you the 6 steps. All right, and these 6 steps has found to be very, I would say there is a proof of concept here because it has been proven to be very successful for my students. All right, step number 1. Get a good body of knowledge book. What is a body of knowledge? Basically a reference book. You don't need many reference books, honestly. Just need one, right? Even if you have many, it's not going to help you pass the exam. Get one good one. And my recommendation, you don't have to really follow this recommendation. You can take others which you think they are used to it, but the one that I've been using is basically the primer of CSSBB from the Quality Council of Indiana. Primer CSSBB from the Quality Council of Indiana. It's a pretty big book, about this size and pretty thick, right? So it covers about easily 14 sections there of the Lean Six Sigma curriculum. All right. So in this particular CSSBB, it also comes with exam questions. For every section, there are exam questions, right? And for the exam questions, they would also, since it is kind of categorized. For example, like if you are studying on, let's say, on design, all right, on define. So for define, you have a set of questions for define, whereby you will have chance to test it. You have chance to test yourself whether you understand the topic or not. Okay, so please get hold of a good reference book. And in this reference book that you have to read through all of them, every page in the CSSBB, right? So some of my students think that they can get by just focusing on certain sections and not certain sections. That is a big mistake, because the 150 questions, which I will later go through with you, where is the concentration at, but even those which are low concentration, they have questions coming up from areas that you least expect. So you need to go through all of them. Okay? So it's important you get hold of a good reference book. So for number 2, do the exam questions from the CSBB CD. Now, this particular primer, it comes with a CD of 1,000 questions. So you have a lot of practice. It's essential that you have to do a lot of practicing on the questions. Just reading the reference book is not going to make you pass. You got to do the questions so that you can get used to how to answer it. Okay, even though it is multiple choice. So there are 1,000 questions in the CD. What is good about the CD is that as you answer it, when you will be actually assessed on how many marks you got for that particular section. And on top of that, if you have got it wrong, there will be a section whereby they will explain to you, the CD will explain to you why this answer is not chosen and why the correct answer should be this. So it's a good learning tool. Okay, it's a good learning tool. So I would definitely highly recommend you to get hold of the CD and do the 1,000 questions. All right. Now, what is step number 3? Step number 3 is again dealing with questions, but nothing to do with the CD, but this time from the ASQ past year questions. Now, doing the CD questions alone is not good enough. The CD questions help you to get acclimatized in terms of how to answer multiple choice questions, and the CD questions are mainly aligned to the primer. But the ASQ past year questions are really truly essential for this. You got to practice a lot on the ASQ past year questions. And one good news I have for you, ASQ is fond of repeating questions. Now, it won't be 100%, okay? I've seen that they are fond of repeating questions in the realm of maybe 10 to 15% of the questions. So the more you do, okay, the better you are. So do practice a lot on the ASQ questions. Another mistakes I have students from my cohort is that they just practice once and they think they can do that. No, you can't do that. You got to practice at least over and over again. Okay, my recommendation for every paper that you do for ASQ, you probably have to practice at least 3 times. At least 3 times. Okay, questions that you got it wrong, right? I notice students that get the questions wrong, they tend to repeat the same question and they got it wrong again. So it has to be done repeatedly. Ensure that whatever mistakes you have is flushed out from your system. All right. So number 3 is ASQ past year questions. Number 4 is called test taking skills, which is, I would say, sadly speaking, most students do not know how to do this, right? They might read the primer, they might do some past year questions, but test taking skills will help you to, what I say, in a few areas. It helps you to collect yourself while you're in the exam hall. Test taking skills help you to manage your time so that you do not spend too much time in certain questions and you get stuck there, and when you get stuck in certain questions, you forgot that the clock is ticking away, right? And suddenly you found that you still cannot solve that particular question, you panic. So the student tend to panic, and then the rest of the easy questions, they will not know how to do that too. This is quite common of how to handle your emotions, right? So test taking skills is essential here. Now, this video here will not dive deep into what I explained into all those points I've given to you. Just give you enough for you as a guide, right? So before I continue, I have a free preview that will dive deeper in each of the points that I've mentioned, that will help you prepare and help you to get yourself so-called better understand what I'm referring to on all these points over here. Okay, so at the end of this video, go and copy the link, okay, and register for my free preview. All right, register for my free preview at the end of this video. You'll find the link at the end of the video. All right, test. I was talking about 1, 2, and 3. 1 is get a good reference book. 2, a CD of 1,000 questions. 3, ASQ past year questions. 4 is test taking skills. So under test taking skills, there are 3 sub points I'd like you to take note of. Number 1, you must find out how much time you should spend per question. Okay? Number 2, there are typically 3 types of questions in the ASQ. 1 is called a logic question. 2 is called a lookup question. 3 is a calculation questions. Lookup questions take the main bulk of the 150 questions. Then followed by logic questions, sorry. Logic questions take the main bulk of it, all right? At least 50%. Lookup questions are the second level, okay? And the least one is calculation questions. However, calculation questions take the most time. And this is the one that when you get it right, you will get it right. Whereas logic and lookup may not guarantee you might get it right, because those are more of, I would say, is more of rational questions. You don't really calculate, right? Just based on memory, right? So, like I said, logic, lookup, and calculation. You have to apportion time for those which are logic, lookup, and calculation. And the time given for these questions, for each of these questions from these 3 categories are different. They are different. So you got to understand how much to give for each of these categories. You cannot give them the same amount, all right? So that will help you in the test taking skills. And number 3, sub point is there are certain things called high probability answers, right? In other words, when ASQ give you the particular question, right? As you look at the question, even without what I say, reading the reference book, you would know that A, B, C, D, you would choose C, for example, because of the way the question is been structured. So there are certain tips you need to know you need to recognize how the structure of the question is, and then from there you will choose that particular answer. In other words, you don't even need to read the primer. You would know that it has to be, for example, C, or maybe even B. It all depends on the structure of the question. Those are called high probability answers. When I say high probability, I don't mean sure to get it right. Okay? Well, you may get 80% chance you're going to get it right. Okay? So for test taking skills, there are 3 points. Number 1, okay, identify number of minutes per question. Number 2, identify how much time to spend on logic, on the lookup, and on the calculation. A lookup means this, that you can actually, anyway, it's open book. It's an open book exam. You can actually go back to the reference book or how many books you want to bring in, and as you go through the book, look for the answers. But I can tell you, okay, you shouldn't be depending too much on lookup for every question, okay? Because you don't have time. You absolutely don't have time, right? So there are certain techniques involved in lookup questions. What kind of questions you should be looking up and what kind of questions you should not be looking up, all right? All right, so point number 5. Point number 5 is identify what you need to bring in for the exam hall. You're going to go to the exam hall, right? So identify what you can bring in. ASQ allow you to bring in certain things. So please do not bring in more than that. For example, I've seen students bringing in a truckload of books. It's usually hopeless. Okay, you don't have time to refer to all those books. So what I would suggest to you is you should bring in your cheat sheet. I say cheat sheet, which is item number 6, which I will explain to you what's cheat sheet about. You should bring in your cheat sheet, CHEAT. You should bring in the primer. You should bring in your lookup notes. All right. When I say lookup notes, I call it, another term for lookup notes is your critical stack. Okay, your critical stack, and of course, bring in your calculator. All right. So this is essential for you already. So identify what you should bring in the exam hall. And the last item is called cheat sheet. This is another crucial item. A cheat sheet is basically a summary of the formulas that you normally would be referencing to while you are doing the exam, right? You don't have time to look it up. Okay? You don't have time. So the cheat sheet will tell you, from the cheat sheet, since it's a summary, you can easily refer to the particular formula you're looking for. And the cheat sheet will also have reference notes. So for example, certain questions come out, may not be calculation, but from the cheat sheet, you can refer to for the answer instead of going back to check into the primer, right? And the cheat sheet also has tables for easily referencing, and charts. Okay, for example, a normal distribution chart or the F distribution chart or the T distribution chart. Okay, it's easier for you to look at those charts than to refer back to the primer. So the cheat sheet is definitely a great help for you. Okay, so I've gone through with you all these 6 points. Point number 1 is the primer. Point number 2 is the CD of 1000 question. Point number 3 is the ASQ Pass ASQ Questions. Point number 4 is test taking skills. And point number 5, what to bring in for the exam hall. And the last one is your cheat sheet. A cheat sheet is something I have prepared in the past, and it's been very useful, and my students swear by it. All right. So I've come to the end of the video. So what I'd like to do here is that sign up for my preview, which I will dive deeper in, and I think I can offer some help here for you who are interested in passing it with little stress and first time. All right. So sign up for a preview, and I give you a bonus. For those who sign up for the preview, you will also get my free e-guide. My free e-guide, remember I told about the cheat sheet? I will give you a sample of my cheat sheet. You download my sample of my cheat sheet, and from that sample, it will help you in terms of understanding how to use it. All right? Okay, so at this point, I'll be signing off. And I hope to see you soon for the preview. And if you like this video, please hit the like button, and leave me some comments. Leave me some comments, and I will gladly engage with you in terms of what is in your mind, and I'll be more than glad, okay, to answer and reply you. All right, signing off here now, CK. Bye-bye.